Street Fighter should have been one of the easiest movies ever made. It came from a global arcade obsession packed with characters people could recognize instantly. Rivalries were already built into the DNA. Signature moves were etched into muscle memory. The foundation was already there. All it really needed was rhythm, a strong visual style, and a reason to care before the first punch was thrown. But the moment the project stepped away from the glow of the arcade, things began to fall apart. The original idea was simple: unleash the full roster on screen, like the game bursting into live action. The fights were meant to carry everything. Instead, the deadline became the true antagonist, and at the center of it all, the two biggest names ended up doing the same thing at once. They made the movie possible, and at the same time, helped break it. This is a film that didn't just struggle on screen, it fought behind the scenes just to exist. Number 1. Street Fighter didn't become a movie because Hollywood deeply understood the game. It happened because Capcom was on the verge of walking away. In the early 90s, Street Fighter II had turned into a full cultural takeover. Arcades, television, magazines, it was everywhere. You couldn't escape it. So in 1993, Capcom traveled to Los Angeles expecting strong interest from studios, and they got it. But the meetings kept repeating themselves. Every studio pitched the same obvious idea: a tournament. Fighters lined up, brackets formed, one match after another, like an arcade cabinet turned into a screenplay. And every time Capcom heard it, they felt the same concern. It wasn't fear of fans, it was fear of perception. A tournament structure felt too much like a video game movie, something Hollywood might treat like a novelty, something that could fail publicly and make the brand look small. So they rejected pitch after pitch. The energy in the rooms started cooling. The trip began to feel like it might end with nothing. Capcom was nearly ready to leave empty-handed. Then producer Edward Pressman made a last-minute move. He brought in Stephen E. D'Souza. Instead of refining the tournament idea, D'Souza erased it completely. He shifted the concept into something Hollywood already knew how to sell: a war story. Give it a dictator, give it a mission. Turn Bison into a global threat. Turn Guile into the all-American commander leading the charge. No brackets, no final rounds, just a strong action framework. That decision finally closed the deal. Capcom didn't walk away with the tournament film everyone expected. They walked away with a war movie structure tied to a $35 million budget and a fixed Christmas 1994 release. And once that clock started ticking, the next battle began immediately. Number 2. Street Fighter isn't built around one hero, it's a wall of iconic characters, and Capcom didn't want a movie that focused on just a few. They wanted the full arcade lineup, the same names players spent quarters on. That's where the real problem started. The moment you try to tell a story, you have to choose who matters and who doesn't. D'Souza recognized the issue instantly. In a game, the player controls focus. You pick your fighter. In a movie, the audience doesn't get that choice. They're forced to follow whatever the film presents. If too many faces appear without clarity, people stop engaging. He knew that approach would fail, so he tried to limit the cast. To prove his point, he used a simple example: the 7 dwarves. He asked people in the room to name all 7. Most couldn't. That was the warning. If people struggle to remember 7 familiar names, a film can't juggle 15 main characters and still feel coherent. For a brief moment, Capcom agreed: focus the story, keep it tight. But then the instinct to protect the brand took over. Their concern wasn't structure, it was recognition. What if someone's favorite character was missing? So every new draft came back with the same note: add one more, then another, and another. Each addition seemed small on its own: one more face, one more costume, one more moment. But storytelling doesn't work like that. Every character needs time, purpose, and introduction. The script kept growing while the schedule kept shrinking, and the deadline never moved. D'Souza was trapped between two pressures. The story needed less, the brand demanded more. The calendar didn't care about either. That's why the finished film feels rushed, like it's constantly introducing someone new before you can process the last one. It wasn't a misunderstanding of structure, it was the result of trying to turn a narrative into a character select screen. Number 4. Capcom didn't want this to be just another game adaptation. They wanted a real hit. So they leaned into something Hollywood understands instantly: star power. They anchored the film with two major figures: a hero to sell the movie and a villain strong enough to match him. The first choice was clear: Jean-Claude Van Damme. He wasn't selected because he perfectly matched Guile, he was chosen because he was marketable. His name made the project feel legitimate. In the mid-90s, he carried real box office weight. But that came at a cost. His salary reportedly took around $8 million out of a $35 million budget. That made the second pillar even more important. Raul Julia as Bison brought something different: gravitas. He wasn't there just for visibility, he gave the villain presence and authority. He made the dictator storyline feel grounded. Together, these two actors defined the structure of the film, one selling it, one elevating it, while everyone else was cast under tight financial limits. It was essentially a character select screen where two characters consumed most of the resources. Number 5. Once those expensive leads were locked in, the rest of casting became a matter of survival. Every role came with unspoken requirements: look the part, move like a fighter, and adapt quickly. The schedule wasn't slowing down for anyone. That's why the cast feels uneven. Some actors were established, others were unknown. Some felt like last-minute solutions. Ming-Na Wen is a perfect example. The producers initially didn't see her as Chun-Li, so she proved it physically, demonstrating her martial arts ability in the room. She didn't just audition, she forced them to imagine it. Raul Julia's presence also influenced casting. His seriousness made the project feel more legitimate. Some actors joined specifically because of him. Others were added due to logistical reasons. When production moved to Australia, union requirements demanded a local actor in a major role. That's how Kylie Minogue was cast as Cammy, less through creative vision and more through necessity. Capcom also complicated things by insisting on including certain actors, even if adjustments were required. Roles were rewritten to accommodate them. The cast wasn't assembled through a single vision, it was shaped in real time by money, logistics, and shifting demands. Number 6. Filming in Bangkok looked great on paper. In reality, it became a nightmare. The schedule was already tight, and problems started immediately. Illness spread among cast and crew due to poor conditions. Energy dropped, production slowed. Then bigger issues hit. A line producer suffered a heart attack and had to be replaced. Another producer was involved in a serious car accident. Key personnel were being removed while the film was already under pressure. On top of that, location restrictions forced major changes. Thailand wouldn't allow certain aerial sequences, meaning the planned climax had to be rewritten. The production wasn't just struggling, it was losing control, yet the deadline never changed. Number 6. Street Fighter depends on distinct fighting styles. Each character should feel unique through movement alone. That was the original goal, but the production never had time to achieve it. Training was rushed or incomplete. Actors were learning choreography on the day of shooting. The martial arts preparation wasn't tailored to the game, it became generic. The result was a loss of identity. Instead of distinct fighters, the film defaulted to a single style. Number 7. After filming, the team realized something critical was missing: the signature moves. The fights were there, but the iconic elements fans expected weren't fully captured, so they had to be added later through reshoots and editing. These inserts created inconsistency. Some scenes feel grounded, while others suddenly shift tone. It's the result of patchwork filmmaking. Number 8. The film's rating became another battle. It initially received an R rating, forcing cuts to violence. Then it swung too far and received a G rating, which created a new problem. To correct that, the film added stronger language to land at PG-13. The final result sat awkwardly between audiences. Number 9. Van Damme's off-screen issues added chaos. Personal struggles and substance problems affected scheduling. Scenes had to be rearranged constantly depending on his availability. The production had to adapt in real time, creating instability. Number 10, Raul Julia brought the opposite energy. Despite being seriously ill filming, he delivered a committed performance. The production adjusted around his condition, giving him time to recover between scenes. When the camera rolled, he gave everything. His performance wasn't about saving the film, it was about leaving something meaningful behind.